So thank you for receiving me in this incredible place. I'm happy to be here in Amsterdam. So today I'm talking about the Rockchain project, which is solving the privacy on the blockchain, and we'll explain how and why. So can you? Yeah. So in this presentation that will be short, 20 minutes. We'll speak about data privacy, the technology behind Rockchain, the team, and the ICO. So about data privacy, we constated that companies have a real interest in public blockchain, but they can't use it because they need the data to remain local. Even if you say it's encrypted, they won't put it on the distributed network. They want it to be secured. I would say partially secured. It means they can have a cursor between privacy and public data. And also, they want a total auditing of who accesses the data, which is kind of difficult in the current public blockchain. It means because companies' access-wide systems are so difficult to implement, you can't have a distributed application that deal with corporate data now. It's yet impossible, but with Rockchain, we think we can create some rules extending the smart contract logic to be able to deal with those private data, and we'll explain how. So first, we are not creating the algorithm behind computation on private data. It exists since 2009, first paper, like in the Bitcoin blockchain, and it's enabling the computation on private data sets. It's called Multipart Computation. Yeah, okay. So just a word about multipart computation. It's like taking your algorithm, making a circuit out of it, and encrypting all the gates in the parts of your circuits, and having two synchronized circuits running, one on the public node, one on the private, and it's able to compute things without revealing data. So it's another approach, different from full homomorphic encryption, but which give results now. So can you go back the slide before? Thank you. So what is Rockchain? It's about sharing your data, and is essential, meaning you put the cursor between privacy and public. You choose your partners. You create your own rules of data sharing. And never forget, means you have total traceability of what happened, which is useful between companies. So we did this technology with 3 pillars. One is the DAP box. The DAP box is a file system, but distributed. It's taking the Unix concepts, like read accessibility, write accessibility, ownership of a file, but in a distributed network. So for example, you can define who you give access, read access to, who you give access, write access, and you're creating collaborative networks of people working on the same content through the Ethereum network. So the Ethereum manage the access rights. And when you say, like in Unix for technical people, I change owner, in Ethereum, in Rockchain, it means you give the property of a file to someone else. So it's like ownership transfer of intellectual property of a file also. So all that, it's included in your DAP box. You have a client on the DAP box, and it's ready to be used in a distributed application without coding extra layer. So the second part is the generic privacy engine. We did a JavaScript engine in Golang, which is distributing natively the private computation. I mean, the computation on private data. We'll do a fast demo after. It means you don't need to learn complex language to do computation on private data. You just need to code in JavaScript. And the last one is the Dashrock. it's a reporting platform for smart contracts. Because we have a customer, he showed that he cannot use Rockchain without any report. So we need to take the Ethereum data real time and be able to do BI, business intelligence reports on top of it. Okay. So that was our current cloud. We are testing on a private Ethereum network. Just a word on it, we'll release a toolkit to deal with a private Ethereum network because configuration is difficult, so we need a bootstrap node, and we did all these jobs. This will be public later. Okay. So another, I don't know if I have too much time to dig into it, but we're doing versioning of files versions, and we are also putting in the blockchain information about file links, so you can have dependent documents on files. It's all based on a structure which is also like a Merkle tree, on reproducing for technical people's concepts behind Docker, like strats, layers on top of your information. So this is our dApp box, the first part of our network. So when you install your client, you get this tool, which is a web application but decentralized. You can add your folders and define access rights between your content with external Ethereum nodes. And those access rights will be natively stored on the Ethereum blockchain. So you can go, there's technical indicators of what you do. I'll do eventually a demo of the dApp box later if I have time. This is the Dashrock reporting. So the Dashrock is taking the Ethereum blockchain with FSLOP, which is a good open source libraries being able to get the Ethereum blocks and analyzing it. We're putting in a big database, DRID, and we're doing BI on top of it. So we're able to get some statistics of what's happening in any smart contract. You enter a smart contract address and you get statistics. This is some of the smart contracts that are used behind the dApp box. So here you have the ownership transfer of a file. You have the proof of transfer of a file. And then I will show the Dashrock live. So, en fait, tu peux prendre le lien et tu mets admin en minuscule. Peut-être que... if it doesn't work... Ah, laisse tomber. Ouais, reviens sur la presse. Vas-y, fais from current slide. Yeah, sorry for the demo, I'll do that at the end because I only have 20 minutes. So now I'm talking about the generic privacy engine. So this is, as I told before, JavaScript. So you know most of the computation you can do on private data science is matrix computations. So here we are doing a matrix multiplication, but respecting private data. So how you do it, you write just a simple JavaScript file, script, and we have conventions when it starts with in or out, for example, in1 and in2. In means it's private data, so the data will never be released to the public networks, and out means it can go outside to the public networks. So when writing this, what it does, it compiles your script in encrypted scripts, which run both on the public network, on the private network, and communicate each step of the computation And at the end, you get the result of your computation on the public network, which means potentially on your smart contract. And the data is remaining private for the two matrix which has been multiplied. So you see, you can do logical rules on private data inside the smart contracts when Rockchain will be integrated to Ethereum. So we took the best approaches on computation on private data. There's 10 frameworks open source. And we are doing the complex multiplication of 60 bits integers with big matrix. And we can see here, maybe you can go next slide. Yeah. We are the same speed as the best framework, but we improve to take 3 times less memory. It's important because the bottleneck of computation on private data is memory. It goes very fast in memory, very large memory usage. So here we have a good benchmark, and we didn't yet implement all the ID we have on it. So probably we'll be able to do efficient computation on private data with the GPU. So what will happen when you can merge the Rockchain framework, which is a top layer on top of Ethereum, then you can register your private data on the smart contract with that box and have rules based on this private data logic that goes back like oracles in the smart contracts and that triggers some things. So we think that apps with only public data, such as current Ethereum, is a very small market yet. Because when you only have public data, you don't have valuable data. Most of the valuable data is yet private in companies, or for example, your DNA file for private users. So when the market of apps will be able to deal with all private data and create rules on top of it, we believe the potential of the blockchain will be much bigger. Yeah. For example, the cloud market, which is not related to blockchain, is one of the biggest markets in the IT industries. It will reach $250 billion in 3 years. Yet, the part of the cloud services market that deals with cross-company computation or companies working together, which means by the blockchain, is very, very tiny. So the part of the cloud service market enabling companies' cooperation with tracing, cross-data validation, cross-data computations, all the things that the blockchain with Rockchain can do, can be a big part of it in 10 or 20 years. So there's a real market out of it. So now we did the prototype. We don't plan to put it open source, but we'll plan to release demos. Potentially we'll open source part of it, also provide an executable file. The smart contract for ICO is here. We are launching our ICO on 1st November. The first version of the network will take 18 months to do, because we still have prototypes only. Here's our team. We are 8 developers. So mostly developers. On our advisor team also, we have a bunch of advisors doing all marketing, which are experts in IT industries. So it's good connection. Our first application is an entrepreneur creating genomes, which is an app allowing analysis of your DNA files without revealing your DNA. So the DNA analysis is a big market to come because a lot of things can be exploited in your file. On the The idea out of it is you allow people, like for example, health companies or your doctor, to go on your file and analyze if you're sensible or sensitive to any disease, but your file remains local, you never have it spread. Once you give your DNA, you cannot control it, it can go everywhere. A few words about our ICO. So I've been myself surprised by the very big bubble of ICOs going. So we are trying to give the majority of the tokens to ICO investor, 80%. We have free version of Rockchain, so which explain why the min cap and the max cap is so broad. Depending on how much we raised, we develop the versions. And if you invest and the min cap is not reached, you have the possibility to get your fund back, like most of the ICOs are doing. Okay, thank you. I invite you to go to our Slack, and if I get some time, no, it's okay. I will have do a demo, but I'll talk to you, and I can contact me on the Slack, and I can do a private demo to anyone who is interested. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'd like to open it to the questions.
Thank you. So, well, I think it's an interesting project, but regarding your ICO, what does your ICO represent? Is it an equity stake in your company? Is it, I don't know, some kind of computing power on the network? What is it?
Yeah. So we are building an infrastructure. So this is the usage of the infrastructure as a service token. So the fact that you have computation nodes doing those computation on private data, this is used by a ROC token, and you pre-buying this token for later usage. So the value of the token is future dApps working on Rockchain on Ethereum.
Okay, thank you. More questions?
Hi. How have you structured the ICO? I mean, you know all the arguments that are around ICOs lately. So how you make sure that later on you want that? Where are you launching the ICO, in France?
Yes.
Okay. With a foundation or with a normal company?
It's a company behind you.
Okay. Now you make sure that you won't be investigated because it's a security.
We're talking with an authority in France, which is called AMF, which is authorizing and trying to regulate later those ICOs, but no, until March 2018. Until March 2018, it's possible to do ICO in France like this. And later they will put some rules for ICO monitoring.
Okay. So you don't need to comply with the same rules for IPOs?
Of course, ICOs are international, so we have rules on KYC for external investors, for example, US and China, and Korea now.
Okay, well, we'll see what's going to happen.
We can talk later about it. I hope I've been clear enough.
Yeah, there's some common questions there. I think there are a few more ICOs this evening too. Other questions?
Yes, hello. How is this token different than other decentralized data storage tokens, like, let's say, Siacoin storage or Filecoin that have been ICO lately?
Yeah, we're different because data remains local. So it means that the data never goes to the network. It is on the customer side or your mobile phone, or it can be also in the company. And we are just creating links between data. We are not storing the data. And when you pay for the network, You pay for distributed computation, able to do data mining or computation on private data.
Okay, maybe one more question?
Yeah, a technical question. I know with homomorphic encryption, you can do additions or multiplications. So what can you actually do? And where does the computation take place? So do you use the Ethereum blockchain for that? Like, do you use nodes for that? Because that will be rather expensive. So how does it work? What can you do and how does it work?
Yeah. So full homomorphic encryption is really great in concepts. It allows any computation, but it's still not possible, not practical. As you know, it takes too much size in disk memory. So we took the other way, which is garbled circuit. So you specialize the computation on one need. So that's why it's like a smart contract. Your script will be public, stored on the public networks, and there's a Rockchain node. The Rockchain node is here to execute your JavaScript script and to make sure the computation on private data is done correctly. So there's no hacker changing the code and the result is conform to the code. So that's how we do it. And there's nodes, as many nodes, public nodes to secure those computations. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.